Well, hello, Facebook and Twitter fans of Arthritis Broadcast Network. We're super, super happy to be here again in February, a new year, but in February, at the Canadian Rheumatology Association and Arthritis Health Professions Association annual scientific meetings. We always kick off with the program chair, and I don't know how you drew the short straw again, Tom, but you got it. Good work. So we welcome you, and we're super happy to be with you over the next 3 days to talk to you about all of the great clinical science that's going on here, learn about the clinical sort of pearls or tools that you're using with patients like myself and the thousands of others who are watching.
That's great.
And you always kick us off in fine fashion, Tom, and we're super happy to have you. This is Dr. Tom Appleton. Oh, by the way, I'm Koehn, and I'm with Arthritis Consumer Experts. Hashtag CArthritis 2020 is an exciting event that's taken place in its 5th year. We're really pleased to partner in this event with the Canadian Spondylitis Association and the Arthritis Patient Advisory Board of Arthritis Research Canada. So it's a big team. We pull together and bring these bright minds from rheumatology into your homes or desks or bicycles, or, well, don't be biking and doing this, that would be dangerous. But regardless, wherever you are, we're really happy that you've joined us, and we're super happy that our program chair this year, Dr. Tom Appleton, who's an assistant professor at Western University, which is not West, by the way. You realize that.
It's all relative.
It's all relative, okay. Western University in Ontario. He works specifically in the osteoarthritis research field. He is this year's chair of the CRA annual meeting programming committee. And we're super happy to have you here, Tom. And what we really want to know from you over the next few minutes, we know you're eagerly wanted in the big room to go and actually formally open the meeting. So we stole Dr. Appleton, and we get him first, which is fantastic. We really want to hear from you, Tom. What is this year's meeting theme? What have you and your colleagues sort of dreamt up as an exciting scientific and clinical program? And what do you think our Facebook and Twitter Live viewers can anticipate in the way of news flowing out to them? What are you thinking about the meeting in terms of its theme, and what do you hope to see play out over the next 3 days?
Right.
Yeah, just a little question.
That's great.
Yeah.
So I'll try to cover all of that.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you so much for having me again. It's a real pleasure, and this is actually my last year chairing this meeting.
Say it isn't so.
No, it's true. So I think all good things come to an end.
Okay.
So, but it's a real pleasure to be here in the real West, and I'm very happy to sit with you again.
Terrific. So, thank you, Tom.
The theme this year is actually 2020 vision. Funny that it's year 2020. So a little play on words, but actually I think it's really important to look forward, and we can never forget where we came from, and never forget all the things that we've learned over time. And one of the most important things we've learned is the importance of involving patients in research and involving patients in care. Shared decision making, patient preferences, all those important things, which you'll hear a lot of at this meeting.
Oh, great.
But I think you'll also hear a lot about where the rheumatology field may be going. And I really hope that people come away from this meeting this year thinking about how we'll be working together. How we'll be bringing different voices in and thinking about big ideas, new ideas in ways that maybe we haven't in the past. There's been a real renaissance in rheumatology over the last 20 years. Part of that is because of amazing discoveries and new advances in treatment, but I think we're looking for what the next renaissance is going to be.
That's so interesting. So give us a little sneak peek into what you're saying in terms of bringing new voices or new perspectives in. Where do you think those are going to come from, besides the patient community, that is?
I think the patient community is going to be squarely in the forefront in terms of that, and I can't underscore how important that is. But we're learning a lot about how much benefit there is, including from the event that happened today, the Canadian Arthritis Research Conference in support with the Arthritis Society and CIHR, Institute of Musculoskeletal Health and Arthritis, bringing transdisciplinary groups together. So people who are maybe coming from an engineering field and how that may be helpful to understanding arthritis, and people who have a social science perspective and understanding the social determinants of health. Those sorts of things I think are going to be really big in the next 10 years.
Yeah, and I credit the CRA for being the third pillar organization in bringing that research conference together. I had the privilege of sitting and learning from all of those great speakers, and it was amazing to see the breadth of science that was presented and how you try to finesse people into working together in new ways, borrowing from the past, as you said at the very start, I think is always the challenge. You know, how do we give up what we know and feel safe with and adopt new perspectives or new voices to push science forward? And it sounds like that's a bit of what's on deck for this next few days.
I absolutely think it is. Yeah. I think that one of the most important things is to get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
We've gotten very accustomed to doing things the way that we do, and that's been very good to achieve what we've been able to achieve. But to get better, to make real improvements in things like, say, patient-reported outcomes, those sorts of things, we have to think a bit differently.
Yeah.
And that means being a bit uncomfortable, but in a good way, allowing people to see what we're thinking and get their perspective on it. It's not enough to just keep doing things the same way. So.
Yeah, I think you guys have an opportunity. When I say you guys, I mean the rheumatology community has an opportunity in 2020 to not necessarily reinvent yourselves, but like take a modern platform. Like rheumatology has never been thought of as the sexy specialty disease area to be in. Yet there's some real cool things going on. The use, as we heard, of big data and Dr. Linda Lee's science. It's pairing Fitbit with physical activity and how you can coach patients online living with osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis. Like it's stuff like that. I think if the public knew about how you as a profession are, kind of beating yourselves into the modern age, into the digital age, and how you make that better for rheumatology and therefore make it better for patients is super, super exciting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the things we're realizing is that as we go through our lives, we're all generating tons of data.
Yeah.
And some of that can be particularly useful to understanding more about the experience of disease, living life with disease, and in particular succeeding and living a good, healthy life, having wellness at the same time you have a condition. And so rheumatology really seems to be at the forefront of embracing those sorts of technologies. You mentioned Linda Lee's work, and there's certainly a lot of others. But when we start looking at the excitement around real-world data and a lot of data that's being collected, I think that patients in particular have to have a really important voice at the table and to help us understand what is okay to do with real-world data and what's not okay to do.
For sure, yeah. I think we heard that this afternoon,
Absolutely.
didn't we?
Yeah.
I think I can speak for many patients that are visiting us online live in this event, but also that are here in the broadcast booth with me. I think we all share that belief that we actually own our data, that we it's our experience and we're contributing it through kind of a social contract. And in that social contract, there's a great degree of responsibility on the part of rheumatology to protect our interests, because we can't ever know the kinds of things that you know from either a legal perspective or a practice authorization perspective. And in that way, we're again entrusting our lives to you through data.
Right.
And how you responsibly then use that data and turn around and improve your practice with us. I think we're all for that, but I think that data protection and access, privacy controls clearly of interest, not just to patients, but to the public.
Yeah.
Was there anything in particular about the research conference? So I'm not trying to take you away from looking forward and having 2020 vision, but if you think about the last day and a half, kind of what are your big pearls? Like, what were the things you took away from the research conference that you thought, I think I'm going to poke around in there. How can I sort of investigate more there and try to bring it into my practice?
I think the big theme that came through was collaboration.
Okay.
So the opportunity to bring groups together, not just within a center across different disciplines, but across Canada and even internationally. So Dr. Ray Young's example of really
was inspiring, wasn't it?
Very inspiring. How you can generate excitement and interest enough to get further investment to help to improve patient outcomes by bringing groups together across this continent and between continents into Europe, and have a long-lasting relationship relationship in a productive way. And I think that was probably the biggest take home, is how can we start replicating the success that's been had already in the pediatric rheumatology context, which is tremendously exciting, across all areas of rheumatology, across all areas of musculoskeletal health, really.
I always think of pediatric rheumatology as a bit scrappy, hey? Like they've had fewer resources historically, there's fewer of them, so that need to band together and stay together, I think, is really omnipresent in that community. And I agree with you, I think we can learn a huge amount from them and sort of port it over into the adult environment. As we wrap up, Tom, and let you get on to your official duties as president and chair of the program, tell us a little bit about your own work in osteoarthritis research right now. Like, what's exciting you?
Sure, I'd be very happy to do that. There's a tremendous amount of activity going on in the osteoarthritis space, and again, I think there's a tremendous opportunity for patients to be involved and to get not just involved in specific research studies, but also to advocate for how important it is to fund musculoskeletal health research in rheumatology, in osteoarthritis, and beyond that. I think that's tremendously important. We need those voices at the table to help support funding, to help improve interest and excitement about musculoskeletal health research, right?
In general.
In general,
I see.
absolutely.
Okay.
In osteoarthritis, there are lots of new mechanisms of action that are being tested right now, and I think one of the things that we're seeing is the importance of early intervention. So
much like inflammatory arthritis.
Just like in inflammatory arthritis, and so I think that's probably one of the next key things that we're going to see changing, is people who are getting involved in studies much earlier, intervening earlier, diagnosing earlier, and hopefully preventing bad outcomes and achieving the best outcomes possible by starting early. And that's probably what we haven't done very well in that field. So,
well, I tell you what, now that you're not going to be program chair next year, we're going to bring you in here and really kind of open your cranium up and drag all this great knowledge out in a bit more fulsome way. We so appreciate you coming in before you kick things off with your annual meeting, Tom, and we thank you so much for everything that you do for your own community that directly benefits our community. We're really indebted to your leadership, to your enthusiasm. It's great to see, I think of you as next gen of rheumatology, like seeing that leadership kind of come into full force and applying your 2020 vision to improving the lives of about 6 million Canadians living with some form of arthritis.
Right.
So we thank you very much, and we invite our Facebook and Twitter live viewers to ask questions, if not now, as we go. So this is where we ask our fearless executive producer, Anita, if we have any questions to field at this moment.
We have questions that came on Facebook, and it's asking what have been your highlights of being CRA and AHPA program chair. As well, how do you
That's probably your wife asking that question.
How do you balance scientific and patient contents, and any tips for the next program chair?
Okay, great. It's all very good questions. Absolutely. The highlights, of course, from the chair position and really just being on the committee for the last 7 years and chairing for the last 3 have been the people. Right from the front office of the Canadian Rheumatology Association through to all of our amazing committee members who bring their ideas and their honesty week in and week out as we plan this meeting throughout the year. It's an honor to work with these people. Really brilliant minds across the country, so I'm very blessed to be able to do that. I think it's also exciting to work with all of the other groups who interact with the CRA as well through the year, and yourself, Cheryl, included, and it's an honor to work with you all. So
that's great. Well, we're so thrilled to be here. We're now really hitting our stride, and I think our viewers, certainly our organizations that co-host this event, are again super happy to be here. So Anita, are there other questions, or? Okay, you're the boss of us, so we got to do what Anita says. So thank you so much, Tom, and we wish you the best of luck. We're going to be dragging people in here every 10 minutes, 15 minutes, keeping the knowledge translation and flow exercise going. So we invite you back very shortly. We've got our next guest coming up in a few minutes, and we just look forward to a great event. And congratulations, and thanks again for being such a great partner.
And thank you guys for doing this as well.
It's our pleasure.
All right.